Hi, Hayley here. Just checking in to see how you're going with this new norm we find ourselves in. I know there's a lot of information given on physical health and how to maintain and look after yourself on that front. I'm just noticing there's not a lot on the mental health front, and anxiety is skyrocketing at the moment with this new norm we find ourselves in. So I just wanted to take some time out to give some or offer some tools and techniques that may be of benefit to you. Anxiety is a good thing. It's there to protect us. It stems back from the caveman days where wild tigers and lions and things were roaming around. Our anxiety will kick in to give us that fight or flight aspect to protect ourselves. Fast forward civilizations later, there is no wild animals roaming around, yet our brain has held on to that fight or flight and kicks in for perceived threats that are going to happen. And we have the same physical sensations and that same intensity as if we are seeing the lions, bears, tigers, whatever the threat was at the time. I used to doing many anxiety talks, and I would always start off by saying that anxiety is a perceived threat. So a bit of new territory to me when I sit and talk to you and say, well, there is the metaphorical saber-toothed tiger that is threatening us, and this is COVID-19. So whilst we find ourselves in a real threat, how do you manage your anxiety? Here goes. First off, I would suggest recognize what's coming up. Recognize those feelings that are coming up. And they are all right. There's no one size fits all. Different people will feel different things at different times. And by honoring them and validating them and being with them and processing them is probably the most important thing we can do now. Our brain is wired to protect us from any challenging feeling, any hard feeling. It just wants us to feel good and safe. It's there to protect us. But what happens when we don't acknowledge or process these challenging feelings? We repress them by distraction, by denial, by many defense mechanisms. And that works for a while. But then what happens is all these repressed emotions start manifesting in maladjusted ways. So it can come up in behavioral ways where you're very snappy or short-tempered or restless or whatever. But it comes up in ways that overwhelm and overtake us. Or the other way is that it will come out in body sensations. It will come out as a disease, because disease is really a dis-ease of the mind. So it's really paramount to allow these feelings, doesn't matter how challenging they are, to come. And here's the thing, all emotions are good emotions. All emotions have a gift to give us. So whilst it's not very pleasant sitting with the discomfort of sadness or with the discomfort of anger, and we do anything to distract, to not be there, what it does, if you do sit with it, sadness will crack you open and allow a light in. It will allow you to experience empathy on such a deep level that you will know what empathy is and therefore be able to give it to others, and compassion, because you felt on such an experiential level what it feels like. Anger is such an intense emotion, but the gift it could give us is to do something, to be active, to channel this energy into something positive. So allowing these emotions to sit and just be and just notice and note what comes up. Not trying to create life as you want it to be, but just noticing it as it is. I see emotions as guests that are there. They come and visit. They're not there not going to stay forever, but be open, be hospitable, let them in. Me personally, I externalize my emotions. I literally see my emotions as little orphans running around the road, not quite knowing what to do with themselves. So if I'm feeling sad, I'll literally pick up sadness. I'll put it in my lap and I'd say, I don't know what I'm going to do with you, but I'm in the driver's seat and together we've got this. And I visualize just validating and embracing sadness. And then after a while, sadness jumps off the lap and moves off. If I don't give sadness that energy and that validation, it would be like a little kid nagging at you, like, Mom, 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 Mom. We're eventually going to snap and say, What? What is it? And it comes up in catastrophic or maladjusted ways. So really leaning into these emotions and noticing what they are, validating, being with them, feeling it, and listen to the gift it's going to offer. The other thing I wanted to say about emotions is this. You often hear people say, I'm angry, or I'm sad, or I'm frustrated. Well, the truth is you're really not. You feel angry, you feel frustrated, you feel sad. It's a part of you. But there's many other parts of you that you're not recognizing. So just understanding that allows you to separate yourself from the all-encompassing feeling of, I am sad, the whole of me is sad. Just recognize there's parts of you that are sad and parts of you that are okay and happy and just kind of balancing this. So the big thing here is not denying feelings, letting them process, but in the same token, not getting caught in your feelings where you're going to spiral. This is what we call a dual process. It's the balance of understanding and validating and feeling your emotions, but dual processing it with not spiraling down into it. So a lot of the times people will get really sad for being sad. That's second tiering, that's spiraling. Or really angry for feeling angry because they feel they shouldn't be feeling this. They should be feeling something else. If you're sad, you should be feeling happy. If you're happy, maybe you don't have enough empathy. There is no should. It's just is what it is. And leaning into it and noticing it. Notice and note. Observe. If you can be the observer of yourself, that already puts space between you and the emotion. Because when you're in it, you are it. But when you're observing yourself and you can notice, I am sad, it's already put a bit of space between, so you're not sadness, you're just noticing you are sad. So that's the number one tip I would encourage you to think about. The other thing is worry. Now, a lot of people worry because they, in a weird way, think that by worrying, they're actively doing something. And by not worrying, they, apathetic, they just having an apathy towards it, and which is not true. Worry helps nothing. Again, worry is there to serve a purpose. It's there to alert you that something's not 100% right. But how you tackle worry is get it out. Get a pen and paper, list everything that you're worried about. Then next to it, list things that you can actively do, the things that are in your control, in your capacity, that you can actually do to minimize that worry. Because worry without action serves no purpose. But worry alerting you to something's got to give, and you actively take out a pen and paper and write down steps that you can do here and now to alleviate that worry, that's being proactive. Another thing about worry is sometimes we're caught in that spiral. Our brain just, goes, ruminates over and over and over and over about a certain thing or situation. And again, not doing much justice. So how I was talking to you before about having different parts of yourself, what you could do in this case with worry is go, I acknowledge this worry, I get what it's saying, but I'm choosing to just park it aside here for a moment. I'll come back in 3 hours and I'll address it. I'm not ignoring it's there. I'm not denying it's there. But right now, I'm just going to park it aside. And I'm going to be really present with my children or really present with my task I'm doing. And then in a few hours later, and give yourself a set time to go back to it, I'll go back to it and readdress that worrying issue. What happens there is by the time you get back to it, most times you'll feel it's not nearly as pressing as it was when you were spiraling it round and round and round, catastrophizing it, building a story into it. So that's a really, really good tool and technique to help on the worrying front. Because anxiety is not all in your head and a lot of it is a physical aspect, breathing is essential to calm your body down on a cellular level and put space between your thoughts. So a good technique that I use often at every given time is to take a deep breath in. Let me just clarify something about breathing. There's ways of breathing. If a shallow breath would be what most people would do, would be breathing. That can actually cause more tension. So we're looking for diaphragm breathing. And what diaphragm breathing is if you hold your hands on your stomach, when you take a breath in, your stomach's going to balloon out. And when you breathe out, you're going to contract in. So that's really getting oxygen and slowing everything down. So you take a deep breath in, you hold for 5 seconds, breathe out for 5 seconds. Take another deep breath in, hold for 5, breathe out for 5. Now this really, really just slows everything down and puts space between. It's very effective if you're battling to fall asleep at night, if you're feeling really looped in the worry pattern. It is an amazing technique just to calm down. Another way to bring yourself outside your mind is practicing mindfulness. Now, what I mean by mindfulness is being really present, because the truth is, as we all know, the future is gone. The past is gone and we can't change it, and the future we don't know. So our only true reality is the here and now. So bringing everything back to the present would be to slow down and use your senses. So whether it be staring at a leaf or a spot on the wall or whatever object you choose, and just still your mind and stare at it and look at it as though you've never seen it before. And you see it in such a different perspective. And you can use any sense for that. Just stop, hear the sounds around, smell. What are the smells that we always rushing past and not taking note of? Taste. What does your mouth taste like? What's the feeling, the saliva? The minute you slow down and tune into your senses, it really brings you back into the here and now. So we can't stop our thoughts. Our thoughts are going to come, but we can try and control them, try and tame them. It's like, imagine standing at Central Station and you see a train coming past and you jump on that train, and then you see another one. So you jump off that train and you jump on that train, and you see another one. So you jump, and you're just jumping on all the trains. It's serving no purpose and you're just tiring yourself out. What we want is to be the observer on the platform, watching the train go by and then watching another train go by. So noticing the thoughts and allowing them to pass, noticing, not jumping on each thought and spiraling down. It's just noticing and noting without being caught into the downward spiral or the story or the catastrophe, because the truth is we need to look at life as it is, not as we want it to be. And just to observe, notice it and note, because at the end of the day, it's like the lifeguards tell us, if you get caught in a rip, it is futile swimming against it. You're just going to tire yourself out and more likely drown. Flow with the rip until it's over and then walk back. So just on the last note, your space at home, whilst you're going to be spending a lot of time at home, check in with your senses, make it a beautiful place, put out candles or incense or whatever it is that will feed into your smell senses. Put out beautiful photos or artworks or things that make you feel good when you look at it. That's your sight senses. The music, relaxing, healing music around. Create your space of calm and tranquility, and use this time now to get in touch with you. We're always so busy rushing and doing and missioning that we never know who we are. And really, at the end of the day, the most important relationship you are ever going to have with anyone is that relationship with yourself. So now is a great time to check in, to tune in, to offer yourself utmost self-compassion, no judgment, just pure vulnerability, pure realness, pure truth. Just check in, learn to love yourself, learn to be with yourself, because at the end of the day, it's not about anyone else making you happy if you're not happy within yourself. And now is a good opportunity to practice that. I hope these tips help, and I am more than happy to offer a ear to vent to, or more tips that you need, or if I could be of any service in whatever shape, form or size for you, please don't hesitate to reach out, to contact me, and together we'll get through this. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Sending much love and light. And until next time, see ya.